Oh, everything vanished. All of my stuff vanished. Okay, now I can hear me. Okay, great. Oh, come on. Mute myself here. There we go. Like, you know how there's like usually the blue background and everything? Okay, but usually it's all gone. It's all gone. This is annoying. My brand color. Oh, this is annoying. It was all there a minute ago. And now I can't remember how to. Sorry. All right, there's one bit. Okay. Oh, there's the background. All right. There we go. I think we're doing okay now. There. It all just vanished as soon as I went live. Okay. There we go. All right. Now I can go back to the comments. Phew. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. There's Supper. Hello. And Jim. Hello. And you can hear me. Awesome sauce. Yay. Okay, that was a little crazy there for a minute. I don't know what was going on, but like there's never a dull moment here trying to be a YouTuber. There we are. Okay, so Lola is here. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We were just on a chat a minute ago. We were on Zoom. We were on Zoom. Everybody say hi to Lola, please. She's one of the crew here. So, though not in the whole crazy world, just in the sane side here. In the sane side. All right. So I got some stuff lined up for us today. I'm going to show off. I finished my Halloween diamond painting. We've got pictures of the Ice Hotel and a little bit of information about it. Since we were talking about it last week, I did some research to learn about the Ice Hotel. And what else do we have here? Oh, Thanksgiving. And a crazy idea about book clubs, something I heard, and it got me thinking, and I was like, ooh, yeah, like you crazy, yeah. Yeah, I just had a conversation with Lola about a crazy person. It was fun. It was fun because I'm like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And yeah, yep, she saw it. She saw it. So we'll start off. It was Thanksgiving in Canada this weekend, and I know people are like, "Oh, it's on the Monday." It's the whole weekend, really, for us in Canada. We kind of celebrate. Usually, Saturday is like prep day, Sunday is family dinner day, and then Monday is do something interesting day. Like go to the beach or go for a hike or whatever. So that's we had a very quiet weekend at home because my father-in-law situation. It's just too much to try to have a big family dinner and then be running back and forth to his house and be, I can understand why you might say, well, why don't you invite him? Well, I would, but he can't leave his house because he's like palliative and, can't get down a flight of stairs. He would have to be carried downstairs, and I'm not that committed to this relationship. So yeah, we just kind of skipped it. We ordered in and just hung out. Really, I got work done. I got videos filmed. I got part of my den cleaned up. It was a disaster because that's kind of where we live. So everybody was gone. So I like cleaned and hoovered in there, scrubbed the carpet and whatever. So yeah, that was my Thanksgiving. So grateful that I have a home and food on the table. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. So there is my Halloween diamond painting. This is one of those, like, it's plastic and it comes on a little stand. And I did actually finish this weekend too. We'll see if we can show it a little closer. There we go. So I would not recommend this style. I found it really frustrating, actually, because, and you can see, like, it's like super cute with the little pumpkins. There we go. So I found that the regular diamond paintings, it's sticky. And then what I do is I peel the whole clear layer off, like the film off, and then I put these like wax paper sheets. And then it sits nice and flat on my table, but then it stays sticky. I found this, like it was one sheet to tear, and then it just wasn't as sticky as the regular kinds that are like paper. So I did find it frustrating. Sometimes the little diamonds would take like 25 tries to stick on. So good times, but we got there, finished it at the weekend. It's done. And then I took all my other Halloween diamond paintings and put them away, packed them up with my autumn stuff. So next year in September, I'll get them all out because I want to work on some Christmas ones. So yeah, that's where we're at. That is where we are at. So yeah. And then I have Remembrance Day coming up. There is so much drama around this. Like you'd think how dramatic can Remembrance Day be, right? Like the drama has already happened. Why are we making it drama? So yeah, I'll tell you that story. Worked on a new Halloween song today. Yay! I have a new Halloween song coming out too. Well, it's a video of all music that is like Halloween retro sounding Halloween music, like party music, like for your if we're going back to like Great Pumpkin times. Yeah, so I am excited to release mine. I can't wait to hear yours. Is it done? Is it ready to go, Sapper? Do you when are you gonna release it? I'm trying to put out a new piece of music every week. So that's what, but some of mine, like on my other channel, they're 7 hours long. So I actually have to export them from CapCut overnight because it consumes my whole laptop and I can't do anything else. So before I go to bed, I set it to export. And then when I wake up in the morning, it's done. So yeah. Yeah, I hear that she's got lots of stuff that she does. I think you said she has a Cricut. So yeah, that's fun. Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. I'll say, oh, awesome. Thank you. Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Did you hear Maria's new song? So good. So good. So good. You're going to release it next week. Okay. Well, we'll make sure that it is up. Actually, I'm going to I pull up your channel so that everybody can give you a sub. There's Sapper right there. There. Boom, boom. Paste. Oh, paste. There we go. Yeah, I have both. I've never used DaVinci simply because it felt very overwhelming to me. You know what I mean? When I was like, oh, I don't know how to use this. And then when I used CapCut, I was like, okay, I feel like I can do this. On my laptop, I have Clipchamp. So I've used that. But I guess it was sort of like CapCut was where I learned how to edit videos. So that's kind of what I stick with. And instead of having to learn a whole new thing. So I popped Sapper's link in there. And hopefully you can all give him a sub. And that way you'll hear the new Halloween song when it comes out, which will be super fun. Super fun. And there we are. We're back to, there we are. Awesome. Awesome sauce. Yeah, it does. It's like some of these things are not intuitive. And that's sort of what I found about DaVinci is that I sat down and looked at it and was like, oh, this seems hard. But CapCut, I didn't feel that way. It felt much easier to understand. And I'm a big believer in using software and apps and all the things that people use. And so when I used to do tech support for the Repair Cafe in our town, and if you don't know what that is, it's like basically you volunteer and you sit there and whatever your skill is, that's what you offer that day for free. And so there's like a guy who's an electrician, like a handyman electrician. And he would, at his table, you could bring him like the lamp that doesn't work because it needs a new cord or, you know, whatever. There was people who would sew and would, you know, stitch up your jeans or fix your shirt or whatever, sew buttons on for you. There was all kinds of different things. And I would do tech support. specifically to help people with Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that, because all the old people, they had no idea how to do it. And they didn't even know they needed their phone. It was like, it was so bizarre. They would come in and they say, okay, so I'm having trouble getting on Facebook with my phone. I'm like, okay, well, let's get your phone out and we'll see what we can do. Oh, I didn't bring it. I'm like, "Hmm, why do you have a phone if you don't take it with you? I don't get that." And there's a lot of like old people who do that. Like they have a phone if they want to make a phone call. They don't care that anybody else might need to reach them. And I'll often say to them, what would happen if you fall down and you hurt yourself and there's no one around and you can't get up to save yourself? You're going to be lying there thinking, why did I leave my phone at home? They just don't get it. Anyway, so yeah, I used to help people with that, and so many of them would have Apple phones. And I'm like, sorry, I don't really know how to use Apple in terms of like using it as an Apple. Like I could use Facebook on it, but in terms of actually like helping you with your Apple phone, connecting to things, I don't know how to do that. And then I'd say, well, maybe your friends have Apples. No, they all have Samsungs. And I'm like, well, why did you buy an Apple? Because my son-in-law told me to. And I'm like, yeah, you should listen to your friends, because I'm like, where does he live? And they're like 500 miles away. And I'm like, yeah, so he should be helping you with the thing he made you buy. And instead now you're here in front of me and I don't know how to help you. So I'm like, the next time you get a phone, get the same one your friends have so they can help you. And I'm like that when I was learning how to record a podcast. I asked the people around me who had podcasts, and they all said use Audacity because that's what we use. So then when I needed help, I knew 5 people who could help me and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of where I was at with that. CapCut takes ownership of your projects. I've heard that, but I think it's only if you use their pro version, isn't it? I feel like because when I download my stuff and then put it on YouTube, I'm not having any issues with CapCut, but I don't have the pro version. I just have the free version, which so far has been working fine for me. It's been all right. So yeah, there's that. And I know it now. Like I can whip up a video in like 20 minutes and then it takes 7 hours to export. But yeah, and I have to do it at night. All right. So Remembrance Day. I just don't. I can't. I don't know why there's always so much chaos around it. It's like people have been doing it for like Remembrance Day started from World War I, right? Is that right? I think so. It was in Downton Abbey. Yeah, it was in Downton. So it's from World War I. So over 100 years we've been doing this, and we still can't get it together. This is why I'm so frustrated these days, because I'm the chaplain for one of the legions in the area. And I'm just like, every day is a new bit of chaos, There we go. Thank you, Sapper. I should have known you would know that. Yes. But it's just a new bit of chaos. So yeah, the kitchen ladies all quit, which is fine. They were, I fully back them up in how they feel about how something went down, but they've all quit a few weeks before the remembrance lunch, the remembrance dinner, everything. So there's a big scramble around that. The guy who does the music for me, and we are a solid team, he just had a double lung transplant. So he's in the hospital in Toronto right now. And I don't know if he's going to be back at home before Remembrance Day. And I don't know if he's going to be able to be there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put any pressure on this man at all, because he's fighting for his life here, right? But at the same time, I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's another thing. And just all these different things that go on. Yeah, so hold on, I'm going to go to Lola. So she's saying he won't be allowed. Yeah, see, I don't know. Okay, you have to understand, this guy doesn't really worry about what he's allowed to do and not allowed to do. So that's like, he's not one of those obedient people who does what they're told. He will do what he wants. So it's sort of like he could be like off to the side. he does the music. So he does it from his phone, and we've always worked really well together. It's always worked, and he's like really the only person I trust. So I'm just kind of hoping. Right. Well, they'll probably put him in a bubble in a golf cart 20 feet away and have him run the music. Like that will be anyway, but he'll do what he wants. He always does. He always does. No, I have not. Sapper saying, have you seen my Remembrance film and song? No, I haven't. I'm assuming you put it up last year, so we'll have to have a little look for it. There we go. Do I wear a poppy? Yes, for services. So when I lead decoration day or we're doing drumhead, then yes. And of course, for Remembrance Day, I'll be out distributing poppies as well. Once the sign up list is up, I'll be out in front of the liquor store with the poppies. Always a poppy. Yeah, they're you can only get them for this year. I think they're available for 11 days. So if you don't find them, yeah, you'll be handed one when you arrive at the service, I guess. So yeah, it's a thing. And also too, we wear Canadian poppy, which are different than the other ones. Although what I'm seeing, and Lola, you might be perking up when you hear this, I'm seeing a lot of legions promoting that their members and the neighbors and things like that are knitting poppies. This has not been allowed. This has literally been like illegal within the Royal Canadian Legion for 100 years. And it was interesting. There's the mayor of Mississippi Mills. It's the whole different Mississippi. Oh, as soon as the word came out of my mouth, I was like, oh my gosh, I just said Mississippi. So Mississippi Mills is a town up near Ottawa, and she had posted about their local legion having poppies knitted for a project. And I was like, whoa. And I actually said to her, how did they get around the rules? Because that's a big no-no. Like, you will be told to take it off at our branch. Like it's serious. But then I started seeing other branches talking about the knitted poppies. So I was like, I downloaded a pattern. If anybody knits and wants it, Lola, I'll send it to you. And so yeah, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is knit a bunch of these little poppies and then just give them to people at the Remembrance dinner. It's a veterans dinner, basically. So I might knit up a bunch of them over the next couple weeks and just give them out. Just give them to people. And if I get yelled at, I will just yell back. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. Hello, Red Pill Art. Oh, I love that your picture. I can that now that I don't know what setting I've got on here, but we can see your picture and it's your art. Oh, I love that. I love that. You're such a talented artist and very passionate. I love that. I love passionate people. My opinion on the wreaths. I don't have an opinion on the wreaths. We lay them. So when we did decoration day in August, a representative of the branch laid a wreath, and our MP came and laid a wreath. So, and then we'll do it again. At our branch, we don't have wreaths. The public bring their own wreaths, and then we just have a few of them for like the MP, the MPP, people like that. So yeah, I don't know. What's your opinion on wreaths? I didn't know. You know, this is the first time I've ever thought about having an opinion on them. So now I want to know what yours are. You sent me the link. Amazing. Thank you. I'll check it out when we're done here. Crocheted poppies. I see a lot of patterns for crocheted poppies. Absolutely. It's and so it took me a little while to find a knitted one. So for every 5 crocheted crochet patterns, you'll find one knit one. So I was lucky to find one. Hello, Lunatics. I think you're new here. I don't think I've seen your name here before. So welcome. Everybody say hello. And tell us where you're watching from. Where in the world are you? You don't need to give me your address, but maybe just like, a country, just so that we know. Because I love knowing where everybody is. Just like to see, I want to get a big map and be like, I've spoken to people in all these different countries. Oh, you'll have an opinion, Lee. Just oh. No. Are you talking about the MPs and their budget for wreaths? That came up last week in the news. And I'm trying to remember, I think what it was. So MPs get invited to all kinds of remembrance services. And I believe that what the conversation was within the government was that they would only pay for 2 wreaths. And if they went to more services and needed more wreaths, they would have to pay for them out of their own pocket. I think that is how that went. And is that what you're talking about? Because we have, like at the Legion in our town, we have dozens of wreaths. And for Remembrance Day, there's dozens of them. The branch that I am chaplain at, anybody can bring a wreath. And when the time comes, or the part of the service where we invite people to lay the wreaths, we do it all in the specific order. So we have like the Silver Cross Mother, the MP, the MPP, the for people outside of Canada, the MPP is our provincial representative, and then down the list, the representative of the branch, blah blah blah, and then we'll say, is there anyone of the public who would like to lay their wreath, and then they can come that. So yeah, if 500 people want to lay their wreaths, I'm going to stand there until 500 people have laid their wreaths. That's that. Hey y'all, Texas. Oh, fun. It's one place I've never been, but I would like to go. I think is Texas is like a big, like, conservative state, isn't it? Isn't Texas like the size of Canada? I'm in Canada, so everything's kind of, how big are you compared to us? I think we're like the second biggest country in the world. Wreath limit has been redacted. By the Royal Canadian Legion. Okay, we're gonna have to look this up, and I'm adding this to the conversation next week. So lowered wreath, because I just can't imagine a legion saying, no, we're only going to lay 2 wreaths, like, especially at Remembrance Day. That's like, because that's how they make money. So the legion in my town, I'm not a member there, but when I've been on boards and committees in town, and we've wanted to lay a wreath for our board or committee, we had to pay for it. It was like something like $50. And so all the organizations and businesses in town would pay for wreaths, and then you'd get invited to when your name's called, you go get your wreath and you lay it. So the branch in my town, they own the wreaths. So they're all exactly the same. And then you pay, like, the last time it was $50, and then you get the glory of hearing your name called at the service and then laying a wreath. So the branch where I am, we have a couple wreaths for our government people, and then the public can just bring their own wreath and lay it, and then at the end of the day they come and get it and take it home, and then they put it away for another year. So yeah. All right, so hold on, we have more. Liberals limited the wreaths last week. Okay, so that has nothing to do with the Legion. Okay, so what you're talking about is what I was talking about, that they said, and it's not that they said you're not allowed to lay more than 2 wreaths. They were just only going to pay for 2 wreaths. So my branch, we don't charge people to do that. It's just a community thing. So but yeah, so now they're back to, they'll pay for it's like, because the MPs get invited to so many. I know, like, I invited my MP. I know he's not coming because he came to the last service I did. So I'm like, you're off the hook, but here's a courtesy invitation. Please put the poster up in your office. Like, that's it. That's all I wanted from him. Was to just know he was invited. I know he's going to be somewhere else. That I know for sure. So, okay. So Lola has gone to reboot her computer. Oh, wow. Did I attend? Yeah, I went to high school in Scarborough, actually. And so did my husband. So there we have it. We are East End people. We are East End people, but I did spend a lot of time in downtown Toronto growing up when it was like the coolest place on earth. So yeah, what part of Toronto did you live in? That that's so wild that you grew. Yeah, like I live not for actually I'll be in Toronto this weekend. A couple hours away. So I have to we're going to go I think Friday, and then go visit my friend in the hospital who had his double lung transplant. So we're going to go visit him, do some other stuff, and yeah, it's that's kind of neat. So yeah, can we call you Lou? Is that okay to call you Lou? And like I'm just wondering, like, where did you live? So is their attitude, yeah. Well, when our society is going the way it is with all of the influences that we have, yeah, it's really bizarre the way people behave. And I know when I've done poppy duty and I've stood outside the liquor store or whatever with my little box of poppies, and I people don't understand. They think it's like you got to sell them, sell, and it's not like that at all. It's about distribution. And so I would just hand out poppies, and I would, somebody would be walking by and they'd be like, "Oh, here's a poppy for you." And they'd be like, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I'd be like, "Oh, well, it's not about like paying for it. It's about wearing it. So just take it and put it on." And usually within a couple minutes, we'd have a Remembrance Day miracle, and they found some money in their pocket. So yeah, it's a strange thing to me that people do, but I think that what what we see is such a big distance. There's a big gap, and boomers are the first generation to not really go to war. I know in America there was Vietnam, but here in the rest of the world, I don't think boomers really like went to war en masse. They didn't have conscription and things like that in the same way that they did for every generation before that. So I think that's part of it. Like they really have no idea of what that's like, to not know, is your loved one coming back? To not know, like I think I last year at the Remembrance Day service, because it was my first time as chaplain for that legion, I led the way and I told my family history story, and people still talk about that. And the other night somebody talked about that and said, when she shared that story. And so what I did was I like talked about how war has impacted me, even though I've never been to war, and I don't really have anyone in my life who has. But it was sort of like when somebody's killed it at Flanders, what's the ripple effect? And so I talked about all the ways, and my grandmother, my gran, who I just adored, she was a bomb girl. She went to Worcester, not Worcestershire, Worcester, and she left home in Scotland and went to Worcester and was billeted and worked in a munitions factory there, which is the town is quite famous for. And so she was a bomb girl. She made bombs. So there's that. Like people don't think about, like, young people today. Like my son is involved at the Legion because he's a piper and he pipes for them. But he doesn't know anybody who's been to war or even in the military, except for the people he knows at the Legion. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. Yeah, the attitude that, whereas I mean, as a Gen Xer, it was like right at my feet. I grew up with my grandfather. Like we lived in the same house, and he was in World War II. I've got photos of him in Egypt in World War II. And even my father, he didn't go to war, but he enlisted and went into the military and was stationed in Germany and did all of that stuff. So, but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And it's like, there's the liberals saying, yeah, we're not going to honor this. We're not going to pay for this. Like, it's like, oh my gosh. Hang on, we're just going to jump back to Lou here. Okay. Thanks, Lou. It was North York. Yeah. So Yonge Street, Once you kind of get up to like sort of like Eglinton and like north of Eglinton, you're in North York. And because Toronto used to be York, used to actually be called York, and then North York. And so yeah, there's the 401 goes right through North York there. And anytime I'm going into like going downtown, I have to go through North York. So yeah, you were uptown, as we would call it. That's fun. And so you were here, hang on, you lived in Toronto with one parent. So this is not an investigation. We're just curious. So you lived here with one parent. Okay. And now you're in Texas. Fun. That's fun. That's awesome. Y'all, you can say A if you want. That's what we say in Canada. No concept of loyalty. Yeah. This isn't even to do with military or veterans or remembrance or anything. Loyalty is gone. We just had this conversation on the Zoom call right before this call where we were talking about being in a low trust society, and and that's because nobody's loyal to each other. I mean, look at what happens all the time. People share screenshots. We were just talking about that, Sapper. Sharing all the screenshots, private conversations. All that tells me is nobody can be trusted. You know what I mean? The betrayal level is high. It is high. Yes, Wooster. Because when people try to say like the Liam parents, and I'm like, it's Wooster. Don't overcomplicate it. The Shire is silent, like many of us. Great aunt was a mechanic. Was she a mechanic in the war? In like World War II? That's very cool. That's very good. I don't know what my grandfather did. He never talked about it. It was like, and my mother was a covert narcissist. So there was a lot of secrets and stuff in our family. So I was told, oh, don't ask him. But I think she found it upsetting rather than him finding it upsetting. So yeah, but I have loads of photos of him from way back, which is kind of wild to think like that was like, 60 years ago. Is that right? 80 years ago. Words are my thing, not math. Words are my thing. So like 80 years ago. Did I get that right? Yeah, I think so. Like 45, 70 years ago. Oh God. Now I'm just embarrassing myself. I'm going to stop. But yeah, Lou. Oh, she was in World War II. She was discharged early. So when she came back, did she continue to be a mechanic? My father was in Germany, and this was like in the 60s and maybe 50s and 60s. And he was put in the kitchen and he learned to cook. So when he left and then went home, he went and worked in kitchens because he's like, well, this is what I know how to do. No, she was pregnant. Oh, those women. Oh, she had to find a husband. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Did she have to find a husband because she was pregnant? Is that how that went? And she got discharged early and she had to find a husband because she was pregnant. Was that the family scandal? These days it's like no big deal. Oh, so she was having a little hanky panky over there in World War II and got sent home. Interesting. See, every family has a story. Every family. So yeah, Remembrance Day. I have no idea what's going to happen. I put out the call for a backup music person. Oh, that's not, no. Oh, there's more scandal. I know a couple now. So wow, that's kind of wild. Hold on. Somebody's texting me. Oh, my son is texting me. Do I need anything from the world? No, thank you, baby. Come home. There we go. Send him a little text. Okay. Yes. So I put out the call for a backup person just in case our guy can't be there. I don't want to like push him out. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be the person who's like, all right, you're out. We're bringing the next person in. But I do want to make sure we have somebody lined up who can do the music. And so somebody volunteered, I don't know, their sister, I think. And then the sister this morning is like, yeah, I can't find the music on Spotify. And I said, okay, well, in that case, I suggest you go to YouTube, find it, and then download it as MP3s and put it on your device so that you've got all the tunes right there. And she said, I don't use YouTube, so I'm going to let them know that I'm not doing this now. So you aren't willing to learn? You aren't willing to say, I don't know how to do that. Do you? Right? And I would have been like, yeah, use this link, get this, blah, 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 boom, done. So now I don't have it. You know what I mean? Because of her unwillingness to learn something new, do something a different way. So I'm just going to have to run the music myself. I'll just have to run the music myself. Yeah, I did the whole thing. Just, I found very, very, very weird. Very weird. And such a straight, what a commentary on young people. Like, I don't know how old this woman is, but at the same time, I'm like, it, by the reaction, I can probably guess. So it's the future of liberals. Well, Canada's getting a revival. Canada's having a revival at this moment. A lot of people were lit up by Charlie Kirk and what happened there. And I would say, if we're just looking at the polling numbers right now, I think it was on Saturday, the polls put Mark Carney's approval rating went from 43 to 33. So that's a 10-point drop. Yeah, it's done. I think it's done. I think people have buyer's remorse. And I actually have a reading coming up on the budget, because the budget could collapse the government and we have an election, which is recovered from the last one. I don't even know if we fully recovered from the last one, but I'll get my good shoes on and hit the streets again. So yeah, but there is a chance. I don't think it's a big chance, but there is a chance that on November 4th, when the budget is tabled and they have a confidence vote, the government will collapse. The parties don't necessarily want to go to an election right now because they don't have any money. So if you're listening and you want an election, it is time to start writing checks. It's time to start donating to the people you want in power. Because once they fill their war chest, then they'll be ready for an election. And that's just the reality of politics. When there's no money and you've got people screaming at you because you won't give them a sign, and it's like, we don't have any money to buy more signs. Write a check and then we'll buy more signs, So that's how, like, people don't realize that the money that pays for all the marketing materials and the cards that we drop off at your door reminding you to vote, and the stickers and the office that we have to rent, and the t-shirts and the buttons and the signs and yada yada, everything that goes into an election costs money, and you have to raise that money through donations, which is why we do fundraisers all year round for our MP and stuff like that. So yeah, a one man band. You know what? And then I can say, no one helps me. Lola and I just had this conversation where I said my toxic trait is that I'm always complaining that no one helps me, but when they do help me, I'm like, you're not doing it right. So I have to do it myself. So yeah, I think this over the weekend, maybe a lot of people might be ready to change their mind about Donald Trump and who he is. Because they kept saying he's going to take us to war. I keep hearing it every single day. Even a couple weeks ago, I was sitting somewhere and all I could hear was people talking about, we're going to be going to war because of Donald Trump. And I'm like, I don't think you know this man at all. Like, you've made up a story in your head, because he's actually the anti-war. Like, there's no wars under him. He will never send America to war unless he absolutely had to. But yeah, and Mark Carney's done so much damage that he's gonna be like, you're on your own, pal. You're on your own. You pay for it. How about that? You pay your way. They'll table it. They will table it. They'll have to. It'll be riots if they don't. And because what Gould did. So I'll just give a tiny little recent history lesson here. Back on December 16th, 2024. We were supposed to receive the budget from the deputy prime minister, who was the minister of finance as well. And so they waited. It wasn't tabled. And what they mean by that is they take the document and they put it on the big table in the house, in front of the speaker, in front of everybody, and they've tabled the budget. Okay. So that was supposed to be done as part of their parliamentary procedures that day. But that morning, Chrystia Freeland, who was supposed to table the budget, resigned, and all hell broke loose. 3 ministers resigned that day, and it was crazy. I was watching Jasper Sunshine. I think he put in a 10-hour day sitting there. I don't know if he got up to eat or go to the bathroom, because it was like every single time he refreshed, there was some big new crazy thing going on. And so she resigned and then disappeared. And so what had happened was, on schedule, the media was given the budget, the book that was the budget. And so they're outside talking about this live on TV. They're talking about the budget. I was shocked, but I did agree with Elizabeth May, the leader of the Green Party, the one-member party, when she said, can we please just talk about this now? Because they're already talking about it outside in the press room. And we're not, as MPs, we're not allowed to talk about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to give you that one, Elizabeth, because you're right. This is the rules should not be applying right now. And so Karina Gould walked in and said, there, I tabled it, and left the room. This is Parliament. Like, this is the chamber. This is where they all sit. And the speaker stands there and they all yell at each other. So great, tremendous respect for that room. And then she left. And then that was the last, I think the next day was the last day that we had everybody in place in Ottawa, because the next day they went home. And they were supposed to come back a month later. But in between that, January 6th, the date's not lost on me, that's when Justin Trudeau resigned and stepped down and said there would be a leadership race. That went on until March, and then Mark Carney was installed as the King of Canada, and the next day he declared an election. That's where we're at. So there's your history lesson. There we go. Crazy, crazy, crazy. No wars. Yeah, he's a peacemaker. I don't get it. I don't get why people hate him. I really don't. I think they just listen to the box on the wall and then clap their hands like the SEALs do and do what they're told. Good soldiers for the patriarchy. You were in hospital. Oh, wow. Then it must have been hard to keep up with everything. Oh my gosh. What about the ostriches? I don't know what's going on with the ostriches right now. I have no idea. I haven't seen any updates. I think we're still waiting for the Supreme Court. But I did see that one of the ostriches did die under the care of the government. So yeah, I don't know why people want the government to take care of them. They can't even take care of a freaking ostrich. Okay, so yeah. What about the scandals in China? Yeah, I'm behind on that too. I hear there was some. I've got videos lined up waiting for me to watch so that I can get caught up. Yeah, Sean Fraser. Oh. I bet he's got some regrets right now. The way Larry Brock handled him the other day. And I know, sorry, we shouldn't be talking about like specific MPs and stuff, not because we shouldn't be gossiping about them, but because everybody else in the chat is like, I don't know who you're talking about. Sean Fraser is our Attorney General. He is the Minister of Justice in Canada, and crime is skyrocketing under him, and he just doesn't seem to care. And he's more worried about hurty words online than he is children being murdered in their sleep while their families are home is being broken into. Like, that's his biggest concern, is the hurty words. He's pushing the online censorship and going to jail for saying, I don't like you, Sean Fraser. Okay. For entertainment purposes only. There we have it. There we have it. But yes, he resigned the same day that Chrystia Freeland did, and said that he wanted to spend more time with his family. And I get that, because he's Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, somewhere like that. And he works very far away from where he lives. So I get that. I don't live that far from Ottawa. So the people that live, the MPs around me, they can go back and forth easily enough. But then he ran in the next election and got reelected. And I was like, why? Why? You reneged on, like, make up your mind. So yeah, he's already proven that he can't be trusted, and he got elected again. Whew, but he's just getting eaten alive. Eaten alive. There. Yeah. I don't think we should be the 51st state. I think that we should be like the next 10 states. Let each province be its own state. And then we can decide what state we want to live in, Alberta. That's it. I've watched many of the Canadian. Do you mean commentators investigating all the Liberal? Yeah. Okay. Why do we keep the Liberals in power? Because Canada is an open air asylum. That's about it. And this is not at all what I thought we were going to talk about today, but here we are. So an open air asylum is what we live in. And the Liberal, Mark Carney is the leader of the Liberal Party and our current prime minister, and he lied nonstop. We told people he's lying. They told us to sit down and shut up. And so they lied. He lied about everything. And it's like they're constantly talking about it now everywhere, about how everything he said he promised, he's not doing. He's actually doing the complete opposite. So we have a lot of NPCs in Canada, a lot of mentally ill people in Canada, and a lot of people who are very dependent on the government. So when you have somebody saying that Pierre Poilievre is going to take your drugs away, what he means is your fentanyl and your crack, not your prescriptions. But also, too, Liberal voters tend to be very uneducated on the topic. They'll tell you how educated they are with their university degrees, but they don't like to educate themselves on these sorts of things because they've already believed they're educated because they got a degree 50 years ago in medieval folk dance. And so they tend to be low information, uneducated voters. So when Mark Carney tells them, I'm wonderful, they're like, you're wonderful, you're wonderful. And then they vote for him. Meanwhile, the rest of us are like, read a book, maybe his book. And I've actually had people say he doesn't have a book. And I'm like, it's called Values. The book is called Values. Here's the link. You know what I mean? Like they really, and it's, they're very much, the mindset I find with Liberal people is that they believe they know everything. And if I tell them something that they didn't know, then I'm lying. I made it up. That's misinformation. That's disinformation. I'm wrong, wrong, wrong. La, 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 la. Stop talking. Right. And it's like, just because you didn't know doesn't mean it's not true or didn't happen. And this is the issue that we have, is they will not listen to facts. They will not listen to data. They will not listen to anybody else except themselves. All the DEI thing, like we're inclusive. No, their inclusion does not include anybody who disagrees with them or knows something else that they don't know. Anyway, that's a little rant. Sorry, I just went off there. Fortunately, in Canada, you can buy pot everywhere, and I might just need some after this. Yeah. Woo-wee. Yeah, he lied. We knew he was lying when he was saying it because we're like, oh, you have to do one quick little Google search and you can find out he was lying. England, Liz Truss. Now, listen, she was like, prime minister for 14 minutes, but she was there when he was destroying the UK economy. And now he's here doing the exact same thing. Yeah, it's not good overreacting. I know. I need to. I am a kitten. Yeah. China's interference. I need to catch up. Excuse me. I need to catch up on that because I'm behind on that one. I don't actually know the whole story there. So I'm not going to talk on the China interference right now until I actually know what's happened 100%, because what I don't do is read a headline and believe that I'm fully educated on a topic. So there we go. My doggy wants to go. Well, enjoy your walk. Don't take too long. Don't take too long. Okay, who's still here? Who's still here? There we go. All right. Okay. So Remembrance Day, a little bit of a gong show. I have no idea what's going to happen. Whew. Yeah. Yeah. I actually have a meeting tonight with my MP and the EDA, which is the Electoral District Association, so the riding association, to plan all our next moves. So I will see my MP tonight. And yeah, so if anybody has any questions, let me know now, and I'll ask him. I'll ask him what's going on there. I found something. Oh, Lou, thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out with us. Come by again. I have a Canadian politics video coming up this week, so stay tuned. Stay tuned. I found something really, really interesting this week. I saw this video. We're going to totally different topic here about book clubs. And it caught my interest because we're doing the Celestine Prophecy reading group right now. And so it's just basically a book club. And so it caught my interest when I saw, so I didn't know this, but apparently back in, I think, the 50s, the CIA invented book clubs, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Please don't come for me. Got, Kash Patel at my door. Well, yeah, he'll pick up Michelle on the way and to come and get me. So apparently the CIA invented book clubs in order to get groups of people together reading the same material. Propaganda. And that material would manipulate and sway and shape society. That was kind of wild. When I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness. That makes sense for me. I don't know if it's true or not. That's why I said allegedly. Cash, save the toll money. You don't need to come for me. But I thought, wow, if this is true, so I'm going to do some research and I'm going to find out if this is true or not, that they and the CIA invented book clubs. And then the final question on the whole topic when I was watching this video was, is Oprah part of the CIA? Because she had that book club for a long time. I read so many Oprah books, so many, like through like I don't know when it started. Did it start in the 90s? Oh, it must have started in the 90s, the Oprah book club, and then went on into the aughts until her show ended. And yeah, I mean, I thought at the time, I was like, great, they got people reading, and this is wonderful and cool stories and stuff like that. But what I never really thought about was, how are these books influencing society? How, and now I'm starting to think about, like, the Da Vinci Code. Did that influence society and their beliefs? Do you know what I mean? Like all these like big bestseller books and I'm trying to think what's the big book right now? Like, is it the Court of Thorns and Roses? Is that the big one that everybody's talking? I'm in a book talk group on Facebook. I should ask them, like, what's the big book right now? But like the Frozen River, stuff like that. And so I just think, oh my gosh, am I the way I am because of the books I've read? I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. I would love to hear what you think, because this, like, I literally heard this morning, and so I haven't fully formed my brain around it, but I definitely was like, huh, it's not interesting. That is very interesting. Liberal voters don't take the, yes. Yeah, it's true. It's so wild. These are the same people who will say, eat the rich, down with the patriarchy. but they don't actually know what the patriarchy is. The patriarchy is the government. You know what I mean? And then they're like, I want my UBI and I want all my benefits and I want my prescriptions and everything else. But then at the same time, they're protesting against the patriarchy. And I'm like, well, who do you think gave you all that? Like, daddy gave you your allowance. Like, govern me harder, daddy. You know what I mean? Like, this is who they are. And they don't even know what they're talking about. Red Pill Art, did you see Drea Humphreys of Rebel News? She had a video where she went to like some, I don't know, Palestine protest, whatever. And she asked people, like, they're like, oh, we're against fascism. And she asked them, what is fascism? And they didn't have an answer because they didn't know. And then I think they kind of got upset. I think they got upset. And then she offered them a hug. Yeah. But so many of them, they really don't know what they're talking about. Again, like how I said, I'm not going to talk about the China interference until I actually know what I'm talking about. They just look at a headline and that's what they talk about and feel they're educated. And that's the hill they'll die on. And I'm just like, wow, there's a lot of clickbait out there. You got to be careful with the headlines. I'll tell you in a private message on Facebook, because it's, we live in a small area. So I'll let you know. But he's out there. He'll be in the cabinet next time. Absolutely. 100%. He was crushing it on a few things. So yeah, we're really proud of him. Really happy with him. Although there's people in the town who are like, he's never here. It's like, no, because he's in Ottawa representing us, which is his job, like, go on. Okay. So we're gonna update the Remembrance Day situation on a weekly basis, and until then, and then what I did last week, it was Lord Jim Dandy. He was asking about the ice hotel. So I found some pictures and I found some information. So let me see here. The Hotel de Glace is located just outside of Quebec City. And it says, the information I found is that it's the only ice hotel in North America. I don't think that's 100% accurate. There might be other ones that maybe are more temporary, but I don't know. So it is built entirely from ice and snow, and that's everything. The chapel, the furniture, the walls, the beds, the bar, everything is made of ice. And it takes 6 weeks to build it. They start in December. Now, Quebec City is very, 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 very cold. So they got a big, long, cold winter, so they can do this. We can't do this where I am. Like, we got cold winters, but there's no guarantee you're going to get a solid, like, 3 months of, like, -0 temperatures. So they use 500 tons of ice and 30,000 tons of snow. They change the theme every year. And the temperatures outside, the temperatures inside are -3 to -5, regardless of what's going on outside. And so they have 40 hotel rooms, themed suites. You sleep on an ice bed, which is kind of cool. And you have like extreme cold sleeping bags. And there's saunas, lockers, bathrooms. They're all heated and warm. And it says here, there's a warming area for guests to prepare before bed and to warm up in the morning. Wow. There's an ice bar. The glasses are made of ice as well. There's an ice slide, an ice chapel, and an ice art gallery. And they saying that couples book into the ice chapel for weddings and vow renewals. And what else? You can get a tour. There's the ice sculpture workshop, snowshoeing. There's light shows at night. And then they have it all lit up with LED lighting. And I'm going to show some photographs. So yeah, January to late March. So they've got a good 3 months. And then they leave it to, it says it is melted intentionally. So I guess they just let it melt and maybe they blow hot air on it to speed it up. And 100,000 people visit every year. It was first opened in 2001, and people usually stay for one night because it's just for the experience. It's not for, it's not a comfortable place, and you'll see in a moment. So I'm going to add, there's a photo of it there. I set everything up. So the new thing that I learned this week is I always say I want to learn something new each week on how to do StreamYard and things like that. So this is what I learned this week is how to set up all the photos and everything ahead of time so I can just click, click, click. Where are we here? Aspie, hello, my love. You should come visit. Absolutely. Absolutely come visit. Yes. Thank you so much. I got it on Shein. I got it on Shein last year. I did bring out all of my autumn sweaters so that each week I'll have a new one, and then maybe I'll wear my Halloween costume. So this is what it looks like on the outside. There's the, like, isn't that kind of cool? So this is like, they have a different theme each year. So, you know, this is, so that's the bed. And you can see there's like a foam kind of mattress on top of the ice, and then you sleep in a sleeping bag. So yeah, one night's about what most people would have, eh? There's another shot of the bedrooms. You know what? I'm just going to take your comment down there and see how it's like hard snow and then they've carved it. Cool, eh? So cool. There's, oh, and the fireplace. Ice and snow is very, it's very insulating. So this is why they can kind of maintain the temperature. But I love all the carvings and everything. And then there's the ice bar, which is very cool. And I love that the glasses are made of ice. That's really neat. And then there's another photo from the ice bar, all lit up. And see, they've got all the little blocks of ice. I wonder if the chandelier is made of ice. That would be kind of neat. But even like, see the stools, the bar stools are ice as well. And they've got like fur or something on top of them. That's kind of neat, eh? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So that was my little bit about the ice hotel. I think it was Jim. Was it you? Was it you, Jim, who asked about that? I think so. And then Lola said there was an ice hotel near her. So when she gets back, we're gonna have to ask her. So yeah, yes, yeah. My son every day leaves and he says, "Okay, I'm off to be indoctrinated." I'm like, yeah, yeah. Starting to get more chilly. I was in New York City in February one year, and it was amazing. It wasn't that cold. Like I didn't have to wear a big winter coat like I would here. But I think it's because you're like the ocean is right there. Like you have. I think it's like salt water, right? Like if you go out to the Hamptons and you go to the beaches, that's salt water, right? I think. I'm pretty sure. And so I did find that even though it was February, it was being so close to the ocean actually kept the temperature a little bit milder. It wasn't nearly as cold as it was in Canada. But I think you're only about an 11-hour drive or maybe a 2-hour flight to Canada. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get you up here. We'll show you around. We'll try to avoid all the gross areas. And you can see what Canada looks like. And we'll take you for like Canadian food. We'll get poutine and maple cookies and stuff. we'll go. Oh, you know what would be a great time, Aspie, is in March when the maple syrup's running, when the sap is running, and there's maple festivals everywhere. That's like hardcore Canadian. Like that is as Canadian as it gets. Going to maple syrup festivals. And I was in Michael's today, and a woman, I was in the yarn department, and was like, "I love your sweater." So yeah, Shein and Temu, go check them out. They have tons of stuff, tons of really cool autumn things, Christmas sweaters, things like that. No waterbeds. Yeah, no, I'm not putting a waterbed in the ice hotel. No. Follow the rules. No rules for me. Thanks very much. Where are we here? Oh, yeah. I think we've decided my son's going to do online university and do his MBA with a path towards accounting. So then he can do it at home, a couple hours a day, run his businesses, everything else in the rest of the time, still be piping, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, I do too. Where's Lola? She'd be like, "Pierre's my boyfriend." Cold calls on the phone. Yes, very cold calls. Very cold calls. Where is this again? let me go back. I will find the exact location. The Hotel de Glace is Quebec City. I've been to Quebec City. I've been in during Carnival, where they have all the winter festival stuff. There's an ice slide, so you sit on a little toboggan and go down this huge ice slide. I've done that. That was fun. And they have Bonhomme de Neige is the snowman that goes around. He's a very specific branded snowman. And there's like ice sculptures, there's skating, like everything. And then in Quebec City, it's a walled city, and so it's very walkable, and there's all sorts of restaurants everywhere, and it's just magical. Like all the fire lights, like they're all lit with fire and like fire torches and stuff. And then all the restaurants will have a little bar out front, and there's a guy there with like the big coffee urn thingies. So that'll be filled with what we call caribou, and it's a hot alcoholic beverage. And that's how you stay warm in Quebec City. And another thing that I saw everywhere when I was there, and I'm seeing it more and more now, is coup de castor, which means beaver tail, and it's a pastry. So it's like deep fried dough with like sugar on it. And so you see that everywhere, like coup de castor and caribou and bonhomme de neige, and it's a whole vibe. But I can tell you, it is like -40 all the time in the winter there. So it's very, very cold. Make sure you've got solid winter gear. Your cute little riding boots, not going to cut it. You need hardcore winter boots to survive that. Otherwise, you're going to be crying from the cold in 20 minutes. And that's not fun. But yeah, I don't know. Aspie, did you see the pictures? I don't know if you saw right from the start of the photo. There we go. So that's there. That's what it looks like when it's all built. And yeah, but I think it was Jim who was asking about it last week. So I put together a tiny little presentation inspired by a little Mr. Foxy who does his presentations. And I was like, oh, I should do that on the Ice Hotel. But yeah, so that's it. I've never been to it. Because I think Quebec City is about 10-hour drive from me. That's a hike. I've been a couple times at different times of the year when I was young and didn't mind driving 10 hours. But at this point now, I'm like, no, I like to be tucked in bed by 8 o'clock and with my book and my dog, and not be driving through the night to get places. So yeah, that's the Hotel de Glace. And of course, Jim, I'm glad you asked about it, because I had totally forgotten about this. And so it was nice for me when I was looking up the photos and everything. It was quite nice for me to see this and be like, oh, yeah. Now, they do, I think in Toronto, there's an ice bar. I'm pretty sure there's an ice bar. So if that is the case, I'm going to check it out. And I know in February, there's an ice sculpture thing. Like it's out in the streets. I went a few years ago, and so in sort of like the big main intersection in Toronto is a neighborhood called Yorkville, and they up and down all the streets are all these ice sculptures, and they're huge, and you can take your selfies with them, get your pictures with your friends with them and everything. And there's even a map that tells you where to find them. So if you're interested in finding a specific one, you just use the map, and otherwise you just wander around and find them randomly. So it's very cool. I don't even know where my photos are of that. Hold on. I'll see quickly if I could find a photo from there. If I can't find it in 2 seconds, then yeah, I can't. You know what I'll do? I'll look for it. I'm not seeing it quickly. Okay. What I'll do, I'll see if I can find pictures of the ice sculpture festival for next time. And then maybe I'll go this year. We'll see. We'll see. Toronto is such a awful place right now. It's really gone downhill. So it's not a fun place to visit anymore. Used to be amazing. Used to love going to Toronto, but it's all third world now. garbage everywhere, encampments everywhere. Yeah, it's bad. It is bad. It is bad. So there we have it. That is what I had on the menu today. And we'll revisit a couple of these topics. I'll give you a Remembrance Day update next week. I'll see if I can find the ice photos. I'll just write a note for myself here. Ice photos. And yeah, there we have it. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me for the last hour or so. I so appreciate it. And I'm gonna go catch up on Melty's video and some other videos of drama and see what's going on. And then I have I have an EDA meeting tonight. So I'll be out with our local conservatives. So there we have it. Yeah, I'm not even hiding it anymore. I'm like, whatever. I bit my tongue long enough for the sake of peace, and you still want me dead. So there we go. Not hiding it now. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button on your way out. I'm on my way to go put the kettle on. Have an amazing day, everybody. As ever, stay magical. Bye.